What's up, dudes and dudettes? How you doing? Brainsmasher here. Got a couple of albums pulled out to talk to you about today. I don't have a lot of time, so I think all I'm going to put out here today, or this week, is 4 album reviews. Working 22 hours of overtime this week. Why the fuck? Anyways, these albums kind of have a through line stylistically. On some of my 4 album reviews, I want to just kind of grab random things from 4 corners of different genres and put them together and give them to you. Sometimes I think that's a lot of fun, but then again, I think sometimes having kind of a stylistic coupling curated by me is something of a little bit of value. So this is going to be that for sure. And it all started today when I was listening to one of them. I was going to go that way, but I'm actually going to go a different way. So while I'm talking, we're going to be listening to one of the most underrated American black metal albums, in my opinion. And it's Nietzsche Coty's Eared Alms. Trying to get my no reflection game on point. Am I doing it right there? Right about there? So I and my friend Ron released this on Pagan Flames Productions back in 2009. So Nietzsche Coty, you're going to need a lot of help if you're curious about Nietzsche Coty and you don't know where to dive into his discography, because this is seriously one of the most massive discographies in all of metal that I have ever fucking seen. And by the way, I have a erroneous version of this. So we sent this off to the pressing plant and they folded these incorrectly. And this was the way that they folded it, being the cover. And it was actually supposed to be this lovely artwork by my friend Rebecca Clegg, who watches my channel. Hi, Rebecca. So yeah, I fucking love this album so much. I tell people sometimes that it sounds like Uver's Bergtot played by robots in the winter or something like that. It's totally immersive. I'm going to turn it up a little bit actually. It's got this really intricate electronic drums that just add this super ornate sort of ebb and flow to the music, and there's these just insanely well-written hooks. When it changes from one part to the next, it just feels like you fell from the sky and landed into the next cloud of this Nietzsche Coty multiverse or whatever. It is really, really amazing. It's got lots of heady kind of ambient sort of elements to it. So it is a very, it's great for headphones. It's very aware of the sonic qualities going on. It's a very sort of unhuman project to listen to. Actually, one time I ate a ton of mushrooms with a buddy of mine, and I said, I got an album for you, and we both put on headphones, and I played this for him in its entirety, and we fucking left Earth. We were playing this video game where you're like this ghost wandering around in the sand, and it paired so well with this album. But when it comes wintertime, when it's really, really cold out, I love putting this record on. I'm definitely going way too far gushing about this record, but I fucking love Nietzsche Coty's Eared Alms. A lot of the other albums leading up to this album sound quite a bit like it, but this was kind of like the leaping off the cliff point for the style that you find here. So I kind of think that it builds up to this album, and this is really where it was perfected. There's a couple more records after it that are kind of like this, but they got a lot more technical and brutal. But this right here, this is the sweet spot. So if you know about Nietzsche Coty and you need to know where to dive into the discography, I'm serious. He has, over the course of maybe 10 or 12 years, the project is dead now, released, I would estimate about 60 full-length albums. Then there's side projects and so on and so on and so on. It is absolutely, this guy is one of the most creative individuals I've ever met. He's also in a project now called Grok, which I bet a lot of you would be fans of or aware of already. But, okay, so that kind of sounds like the rest of these albums that we're going to review in full. Forgotten Tomb with Springtime Depression. So these guys really, really suck these days. I actually kind of checked in with them a little bit ago and listened to their 2017 album, We Owe You Nothing. Total garbage. So if you have heard Forgotten Tomb and you haven't heard one of their first 3 releases, you definitely owe it to yourself to check out Springtime Depression. And this came out in 2003. I know so because Hair Morbid signed this copy for me and put the year on it, 2003. Nice little gem there. So the first full length I don't have, Songs to Leave is what it's called. And it is really, really great. I don't know why I've never wound up getting a copy of it. It gets even better with Springtime Depression. And then style-wise on Love's Burial Ground, the music is pretty brilliant and finds that style getting a little bit better, but he uses this vocal distortion on it, and there's not much I fucking hate more than a black metal singer who is using the raspy tones that we all know and love, but then they take it further and add this distortion to it. Maybe I'll find a clip and I'll leave it in the video for you so you know what I'm talking about. But I think it sounds so fucking stupid. You're already rasping your voice out. Why do you have to, change it up? It sounds awful, and it ruins this album for me, which otherwise has some amazing music. But so this is about Springtime Depression. This is just lonely autumn music. It's super depressive, grim, drawn out, but also I think the rhythm, the drums, really drive these songs into your heart. There's tons of melodicism, and the harmonies and the guitars on this record are just fucking brilliant. Really reminiscent and inspired by Catatonia. Now, I don't really go crazy for Catatonia. Brave Murder Day is pretty good. Dance with December Souls is pretty good, and I actually kind of like Last Fair Deal Gone Down and their later kind of more Tool albums, as a lot of people like to call them. I kind of like that stuff, but I won't deny that their influence on bands like Forgotten Tomb and bands like Agalloch is great, and I love hearing Catatonia's influence in other bands, but I don't really necessarily like listening to Catatonia's old stuff very often. But it is just teeming in this record. So that is Springtime Depression. I don't know, it's called Springtime Depression, but I kind of think of this more as like a winter or autumn kind of album. This is the kind of thing in the autumn and the fall I slow down. I like listening to the more hypnotic, introspective, maybe emotive kind of music. And at this point, he was a solo project. So great stuff. I really do hate how Forgotten Tomb's discography largely is fucking garbage. And that makes it hard for most people to realize or care about the first 3 albums being amazing, minus the vocals on the third one. So that brings us to More-alia with Wild Misery. I see this in distros pretty often for pretty cheap, so you got to be able to pick this up pretty easily. I don't know if it's on vinyl. For that matter, Nietzsche Coty is not on vinyl, and I would think that this is probably on vinyl. But so this is a side project, solo project of Shettraug, who is in tons of great Finnish projects, mostly well-known. Horna. I don't know, you know the guy. So this is actually his depressive, suicidal black metal project. I kind of hate that term, but there are some projects that do certainly fall into that category. But I think bands that take that moniker or style or whatever and run with it largely are fucking terrible. And for that matter, while I'm ranting, I wouldn't consider them a black metal band. They take a few elements from black metal and are creating something altogether different that I just think is too far removed from the classification of black metal. And I think that a lot of black metal fans tend to find any kind of music that has a little bit of black metal influence in it. They want to gather that in and call it black metal. That shit just kind of annoys me. But More-alia, definitely, no doubt about it, black metal as it gets. It's really mid-paced, actually kind of slow at times. One of my favorite things about this album is the fucking guitar tone is so perfect. Love that band photo there. So the stuff is really slow. The vocals are just absolutely agonized. The songs are well written. Tons and tons of just hooks upon hooks and just great riffs. The drums are just really simplistic, just like the bare minimum that you would expect out of a record like this. Chetraug has been writing great black metal for so many years that he knows exactly how to pull this off without putting much effort into it. But it is a so well written record. Wild Misery, get it. Definitely influences, I would think, Kalman Kantaya, that band that I really love. So check this out. You got to be able to get it for super cheap if you're willing to buy it on CD. Moribund Records put it out. So yesterday I got in 2 CDs that I never thought I would own by Austerity. I'd be amazed if any of you guys know Austerity. But so this is a project, I guess I'll go ahead and say it's pretty much not metal, but kind of like I was saying about that last album, it kind of has its toes dipped in the waters of black metal, or actually more like doom metal, I guess I would say, but it's so much more subdued, quiet, and calm, and not heavy at all, that it isn't doom metal. But there are so many parallels between what these are and a good doom metal record that I really like how it kind of toes the line between the two and borrows from metal while being not metal. It's more or less an ambient project from Italy. This is the debut, and I'm very unfamiliar with this one. So I guess I'll rewind. Many years ago when this came out, I don't know, I'm going to guess maybe 2007, something like that. Yeah, composed and recorded in 2007. So this is a limited CDR. 100 copies exist. Came out on Bubonic Productions. I just said boob. So hand numbered, 100 copies. This is a really long album too. 10 minutes, 11 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 22 minutes. So this album is fucking long. You know what? I'm not sure I've ever actually listened to the entire album because it's so long. But this first track, Lacrime, is very special to me. It's one of those songs, and I've got maybe a handful of them, where if you ever need to just fucking step outside of whatever's going on in your life, be it good or bad, whatever, and just put on a pair of headphones and play a song that just makes you feel like you shed your skin or wash yourself clean of whatever you were previously immersed in, that song fucking does it for me. It takes you to another planet. It makes you leave your body. It is just one of the most transcendental songs that I've ever heard. And songs like that, songs that can do that for me, are so very special, near and dear to me. Now, another song like that, I'm gonna forget the title of it, but there's a song on 9 Inch Nails, Downward Spiral. I fucking hate 9 Inch Nails, but there's this like ambient track, maybe number 4 or something. There's no vocals. It's real calm. It's just like some really slow tremolo guitars or whatever. That song just takes me to another fucking planet for a minute. There's another one, Teeth into Red by Dead Congregation. Now that song is not subdued at all whatsoever. That song is just like a fucking meditation of absolute anger, it bursting forth just in a pool of blood in space. It's just amazing. Anyways, that is what this project can do for me. So I'm finally happy to have a full copy of this. And so the seller who had listed this on Discogs, I think from Portugal maybe, he had this other release from Austerity, which I was not familiar with at all. So I decided to go ahead and get both. They're both limited to 100 copies. I listened to this for a minute before I decided to buy this, and I haven't actually played it yet, so I'm looking forward to getting into that. But so this one is self-titled Austerity. I will put links for all this below. And this one is Perpetua Nox Dormendia Est. Latin for you. End of God is the last song. So yeah, like all these tones are so rich and washed out and just warm that it almost sounds like if you took a doom metal record that was so powerful and heavy and deep and just stripped it way down and made it super muffly and slowed it down or something, and just made it this super warm tone that just almost like vibrates your entire existence into space. That would be Austerity. Very, very, very cool stuff. So last but not least, kind of going on a long talk here, I'm going to talk about this one. This band is called Fall, and this one is in Polish. Samozatraceni. So this is a really long EP, a 32-minute long EP. What is it? Temple of Torturous put this beautiful digipack out in, I don't know. Man, is it fucking uncanny how I never know what year anything came out of my fucking channel? Oh, I swear to God. I'm going to say around 2007, 8, or 9 without knowing. And so this is the only full length that Fall put out. Even harder to pronounce this one. It starts with W. Blaszku Umiera Zazego Szlanka or something like that. Hand numbered, limited to 444. This is great stuff as well, but this one is so goddamn great. The last track on it is a Droot cover, and that should tell you quite a bit about really what this project sounds like. It's really nature-inspired, kind of pagan, atmospheric, but it's really kind of slow and doomy. I really love how just introspective and slow it really is. It's so calm and pensive and just well choreographed and written. It's just one of the most ensnaring or capturing records I've ever come across. They also did a split with Stworz, Stworz. Now, another thing of note is that these guys broke up in 2014, but since then have gone on to start the band Vedrujanci Viator, who I talk about quite a bit in my channel, and are a lot more popular because they play pretty much more straightforward black metal. But you should be able to pick up copies of these on Discogs for under $20. Black Vault put this one out, and like I said, hand numbered and limited as fuck, but not a lot of people know about Fall. It's fucking beautiful, gorgeous metal music. It also kind of reminds me of the band Fenner's Cane, which I talk about a little bit on my channel and some of you know about, but can't recommend Fenner's Cane enough. Yeah, so that's that. I've talked on for way too long. Check out all this stuff. I really feel happy about this pile of stuff that I've curated, and it might be a while before I get back to you because my girlfriend's niece is staying with us for a couple weeks, so we're having fun with her, and I'm working a ton of overtime, so kind of busy, yada yada yada. See you next time.